Reading on page 107 at the bottom. It was very unnerving for the twins to be alone on the path now that they understood the dangers of the forest. They regretted not trying harder to persuade Froggy into coming with them. They jumped at every tiny sound that the trees made. Alex and Connor remained silent for the first hour or so as they walked, afraid that their voices would attract unwanted attention from some of the creatures Froggy had warned them about. "We're very brave," Alex finally said to her brother, breaking the silence. "Or very stupid," Connor said. The path curved through the forest, revealing new trees and bushes every few feet. After some time had passed, the twins could feel their nerves and tension calm. Their pace became slower and slower, and the more they walked, as they became more comfortable with being in the forest. Connor let out a sigh. "Whew, what was that for?" Alex asked him. "I was just thinking," Connor said. "Alice went to Wonderland after she fell into a rabbit hole. Dorothy's whole house was scooped up by a tornado that dropped her off in Oz. The Narnia kids traveled through an old wardrobe, and we ended up in the fairy tale world by falling through a book." "Where are you going with this, Connor?" Alex said. "I'm just saying, it's kind of lame compared to the others," Connor said with a sigh. "I wonder if there's a support group for people like us. You know, people who accidentally travel into another dimension and whatnot." Alex was appalled. "Do you not get how lucky we are?" she said. "Think about all the things we're going to see. Think about all the people we're going to meet. We're going to be experiencing things no one else in our world ever has." Connor rolled his eyes. "I'll feel lucky as soon as we get back home." Alex reached into her bag and pulled out their map. Her eyes became fixated on it, and she only looked up every minute or so to make sure she wasn't about to walk into a tree. Every few seconds she'd snicker or smile when she discovered something new. She looked like a tourist. "Shouldn't we be reading the journal?" Connor asked. "We need to make a list of the wishing spell items and find out where we can find them." "We will," Alex said passively. "There'll be plenty of time for that." Connor was getting frustrated with her. Did she not realize how serious the situation was? "We need to go home," Connor said. "What are we waiting for?" "There are just a couple of things I would like to see before we go home," Alex told him. "What are you talking about?" Connor said, his volume and temper rising. "We're in the fairy tale world, Connor. We should make the most of it while we're here," Alex said. "Who else gets the chance to see Cinderella's palace, or Jack's beanstalk, or Rapunzel's tower in person?" Connor's mouth and eyes were wide open. He couldn't believe what his sister was saying. "We're stuck in another world, and you want to go sightseeing?" he said. "Are you hearing yourself right now? Do you know how crazy you sound?" She stopped walking and turned to face her brother. There was seriousness and desperation in her eyes. "Connor, the last year of our lives has been horrible. We've lost everything but Mom and each other," Alex said. "Every night I've wished for a fairy godmother to magically appear and make everything better, and now we're in a place where that is a possibility. I don't have friends to go home to you like you do. The only friends I've ever known live here, and I'm not going home until I meet them." Alex continued walking down the path. Connor was absolutely dumbstruck. "Why am I being the logical one?" Connor questioned. "You're always overthinking everything. How are you not out of your mind with worry?" "What's there to be worried about?" Alex asked with a laugh. "For starters, what's Mom going to do when she finds out we're missing?" Connor pointed out. "She'll think we've been kidnapped, and she has enough to worry about already." Alex knew he was right, but her desire to see the fairy tale world was so strong that she was able to ignore him. "All I need is a day or two," Alex said. "That'll give us plenty of time." "How are you so sure these worlds run on the same time schedule?" Connor panicked. "Think about it. The stories of Cinderella and Red Riding Hood have been around for hundreds of years in our world, but it only seems like a decade or less has gone by here since. A couple of days here, and Mom might be in her 80s when we get home." Connor rubbed his head. It hurt from thinking so hard. Alex was listening more than she wanted to. He was practically repeating word for word what the logical voices in her head were saying. "What if something happens while we're gone?" Connor asked. "What if we get back and apes or aliens have taken over the planet? If I miss that, I will never forgive you." Alex stopped walking and looked up from her map. A very odd expression appeared on her face. "Didn't think of that, did you?" Connor asked her, but Alex wasn't listening to him. Something else entirely had caught her attention. "Do you smell that?" Alex asked. "What?" Connor said. "All I smell are trees and dirt." Alex took a couple of steps further. "No, it's something else. It's sweet, like someone's baking." Connor sniffed. Sure enough, a scrumptious smell was drifting through the air. "It smells like gingerbread," Alex said. She looked at her brother with large, excited eyes. "Oh no," Connor said. Before he could stop her, Alex was off running into the trees, away from the path, toward the direction of the aroma, the direction the aroma was coming from. "Alex, wait," Connor ordered. "Come back. You don't know where you're going." Alex bolted through the trees, jumping over boulders and bushes as she passed them. The scent became stronger and stronger the farther she strayed from the path. Connor was right behind her, urging her to turn around. Finally, Alex came to a halt, and Connor bumped into her. She had found exactly what she was hoping to see. A small gingerbread house sat in between two large trees. White frosting covered its pointed roof. Gumdrops were clumped around like shrubbery, and candy canes lined the path to the front door like a picket fence. "Look, Connor," Alex said, catching her breath. "It's a gingerbread house. A real gingerbread house. Look how cute it is." "Whoa," Connor said. "I feel like I may get diabetes just from looking at this place." "Let's go inside," Alex said, and stepped toward the house. Connor grabbed her arm. "Have you lost your mind? Do the words Hansel and Gretel cannibalism incident mean anything to you?" "I just want to peek inside for a second. Only 1 second." The door of the gingerbread house slowly opened. Alex and Connor froze. A large hooded figure squeezed out of the door and then raised its head to stare at the twins. It was undoubtedly a witch, and although they had never seen a real witch to make a comparison to, she was more grotesque than they could have imagined. Her skin was wrinkled and pale with a yellowish tint. Her eyes were bloodshot and bulged out of her head. She was hunched over and had an enormous hump on her back. "Hello, children," the witch said. Her voice was high-pitched and crackly. "Would you care to join me for a bite to eat?" It was impossible for the twins to hide their fear. They both stood still, staring at her as if she were a rabid Tyrannosaurus Rex about to pounce on them at any moment. No thank you," Alex said. "We're just passing by. You have a lovely home." They slowly backed up, one foot at a time. "Wouldn't you like to see inside?" the witch asked. "The inside of whom?" Connor said, and Alex elbowed him. "Don't be silly, kiddies. Come inside," said the witch, losing her patience. She extended an inviting, shaking hand towards them, and they noticed it was covered in burn marks, perhaps from the last time she had had visitors. "I thought the witch died at the end of Hansel and Gretel," Alex whispered to Connor. "Maybe she got hold of a fire extinguisher after they left," Connor whispered back. They continued backing slowly away from her. "Thank you so much for the invitation, but we really need to get going," Alex said. "We're on a really tight schedule," Connor added. "We're meeting a couple of dwarfs for coffee in a half an hour, so we better get on the move." They quickly took off in the direction they'd come, but came to a jarring stop when the witch suddenly appeared in front of them with a pup. They tried running back the other way, but the witch just appeared in front of them again with a snap, and they were trapped. "You aren't going anywhere," the witch said. She seemed to grow taller, and her eyes bulged bigger as her patience ran out. "Now be nice little chickies and follow me inside." "Alex, this is like one of those bad videos about strangers from the first grade," Connor whispered. Do you still have your kidnapping whistle?" "You don't want to eat us," Alex told the witch. "We've been walking for a while, so we're really dehydrated. We're practically just skin and bones." The witch was definitely growing. Her hump shrank as her body rose higher. "Your friends seem to be rather plump," the witch said, looking at Connor like a praying mantis about to strike. "He has more than enough to spare." She was practically salivating. I beg your pardon. Connor was so offended he forgot how terrifying she was. I'll have you know I'm on the edge of another growth spurt, and I always get a little pudgy before one. Connor, please don't, Alex tried, but it was too late. Why do you want your victims chubby anyway? Wouldn't it be healthier if they were muscular and fit? Connor said. The witch looked to the side and raised an eyebrow. She had never considered this. Her consideration must have distracted her from attacking the twins, because she began to shrink back to her normal humped shape. If you ask me, Connor continued, you should turn your gingerbread house into a gingerbread gym and health club. Alex often couldn't believe the crazy things her brother said, but this one took the cake. Oh, what a delicious idea, the witch cackled. I'll rebuild as soon as I'm finished with you. The witch began to grow again. This time her mouth opened wide and a set of jagged teeth grew out of it. She was going in for the attack. Alex screamed, "Wait!" With her hand covering her face, she said, "You owe him." The witch recoiled into her smaller form. "I owe him?" she asked. "Yes, isn't that how it works?" Alex said. "He presented you with an idea, and now you owe him a wish." "A wish?" the witch asked. "A wish?" Connor asked. Alex nodded convincingly. The witch grunted. "Yes, the Happily Ever After Assembly just enacted a new law," Alex said, thinking on the tips of her toes. "Any witch presented with a good idea must return the favor by granting a wish." Yeah, said Connor, going along with it. "Don't make Mother Goose fly down here. She'll let her geese loose on you, and some of them lay golden eggs, and that can't feel good. You know how aggressive they'll be." "Fine," the witch said. "I shall grant you one wish, but only one, because I don't want to deal with those fluttering freaks again." Connor leaned close to his sister. "What should I wish for? Should I wish to go home?" he whispered. "No, she'll trick us with whatever we wish for. It has to be really specific," Alex said. "Hurry, child, I'm hungry," the witch demanded. "Okay," said Connor, thinking as fast as he could. It had to be a good one. It had to help them get out of this situation. "I wish you would become a vegetarian," he said to the witch. Alex turned her head sharply toward her brother. "That's what you picked?" "Very well," the witch shrieked. The twins weren't sure if she knew what a vegetarian was. She reached her hands out towards the sky, clapped, making a sound as loud as thunder, and the twins ducked, but the wish appeared to have done the trick. The witch's hump faded away, the yellowish tint of her skin disappeared, and her bloodshot eyes calmed. "I've lost my appetite," the witch said. She shrugged her shoulders, turned away from Alex and Connor, and walked into the gingerbread house, slamming the door behind her. Alex and Connor took a deep breath. Their bodies had never been so tense. "Whew, that was a close one," Alex said. "You're welcome," Connor said. "How did you think of wishing for her to become a vegetarian?" Alex asked. Connor scratched his head. "It was the only sure way I knew she would need us." Alex smiled at him. She wasn't given too many moments to be proud of her brother, so when the chance came, she soaked it up for all it was worth. "Nice job, but let's get out of here in case your wish wears off." And we will stop there for the day.